Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. Hey, I just want to give a quick thanks to one of our sponsors at Simple Programmer, which is Dev Mountain Bootcamp. You should go check them out. The link is in the description. They are a coding bootcamp and they can teach you web development, iOS development, UX design, a lot of good stuff. I get a lot of feedback from a lot of you out there that email me and have told me about Dev Mountain, so I decided to check them out myself. And I like what I found. I like their programs. They offer some 12-week intensive programs. They also offer some after-hours programs, which I know that some of you will like. So go check them out. You can see the link in the description below, Dev Mountain Bootcamp, and a big thank you to them for sponsoring Simple Programmer. Today I'm going to answer more of a personal question or a personal development question on how do you build a social life after moving? So this question comes from Scott, and he says, you mentioned in a video that you moved around a lot. That's an understatement. I think I've moved around quite a lot. How do you manage your social life while moving so much? It seems that the older you get, the harder it is to make new friends. How do you make new friends and start new social outlets after you have moved to a new location? And with working so much, how much time do you allocate for social activities each week? So Scott, I'm gonna have to tell you that I'm failing at this question. I moved here to San Diego about a year and a half ago, and I really haven't built up much of a social life. I've got a few friends here, but not many. I don't spend much time focusing on that because I'm so busy with the business, and I do have some existing friends. I have found that having a really big social life is not that important to me at this stage of my life. Like I'd rather be investing in the business and having relationships with people that are working with me in the business, so I don't have to waste time, I don't have to spend time outside of that. And I've still got some old friends and some core friends. I spend most of my time, if I'm going to do social type of activities, like just making new friends at a conference, and we're going to go out and hang out and go party or whatever. Or if I go back to, I went to Boise, I did some videos, and I have my old college buddies there, or I go to places where, I know people and we hang out and have a good time, but I don't regularly have like a group of people that I'm hanging out with because it's just hard to do, right? I think if I had an entrepreneurial-minded group of people but even with that, right, with me working on the business, if they're not working on the business with me, it's a little bit difficult. I've got some, the Entreprogrammers group you can check out here, that we meet every Friday, and these guys are my good buddies, and I actually work with one of them, Josh Earl, but we're remote, we're distant, right? I've got, like I said, some friends here. So I can't really give you from my example, at least at this venue in my life, because it's just not as important. But if it is important to you, right? I mean, maybe if you're single, you got more time on your hands, whatever, you want to figure out how to do this. I definitely have experience doing this because I did move around a lot. This is probably the time that I've moved that I haven't really cared so much about the social life as much, right? That's just where I'm at. But here's what I would advise, okay? So if I were strategically trying to build a social life, and I have in the past, and I moved somewhere new, I would join clubs, organizations, groups, okay, right? So for example, here in San Diego, a great way to meet a bunch of people would be to join like a running group, right? Or to join like a co-ed softball group, or start taking yoga classes or painting classes, right? There's a ton of different social kind of recreational things that you could do. Probably sports are going to be good because there's usually a lot of hanging out and going out afterwards after celebrating for sports activities. So pick some kind of sport, volleyball, baseball, softball, whatever it is. That's probably good, like a run club. So that's one venue. I would just join a bunch of these things, and you can drop some of them if they don't work out, but fill your schedule with a bunch of these things. That's the quickest way that you're going to meet people. The second thing I would say is that you can go to groups, right? So there's meetup.com. If you haven't gone to meetup.com, just go to meetup.com and you can find groups for all kinds of things. So you could find a young entrepreneurs group or an old entrepreneurs group, or programming groups. There's so many of those if you're a software developer that you can go to. I used to go to a ton of different programming groups that would meet every week or once a month or something like that. And I met a ton of people by doing that. So that's the second thing I would say. And then the third thing I would say is that really just, if you hang out in an area, right? So if you've got a coffee shop that you go to all the time, there's going to be other people that are there all the time. You're going to make acquaintances with them. And if you can find one person that, in fact, you might even approach this person that has a good group of friends, that's well connected in the area, that's usually all that you need. Is that, like, if you can join an existing group, it's hard to pull your own group of friends together, is what I've found. Eventually you can do that, but I found that the simplest way to get into the social scene anywhere is to find someone who's already got a group of friends, and then you introduce yourself and you sort of make friendship, and you might go up to like several different people, and some of them doesn't work out. But if you keep on doing that and you keep on looking for people that have already an established group of friends that have been in an area for a long time, that's going to be a real good way to do that. But you got to get out of your house. You got to go. It's not just going to happen magically. And I don't believe that it's actually harder to make friends when you're older, aside from the fact that more people have more, like, are married and have kids and have more things going on. But that doesn't mean that you can't make friends. Coworkers are obviously a good place, but I would try and go and do social stuff, right? Plus you'll get some benefit out of doing an activity, doing a sport or something like that. But that's going to be the best way that I've had success in the past at making friends and making big groups of friends. In LA, I joined an acting class. I was in acting class, made a lot of friends from there when I used to live there. Various places I've joined different groups or sports or clubs and stuff like that. And especially if it's a common interest, you're going to have a lot already in common, so it makes for friendship real easily. When I used to play Magic the Gathering, I made tons of friends at Magic tournaments. So there you go, or Magic drafts or whatever at the Magic shops and stuff like that. So there you go. That's my advice on that. If you haven't subscribed already, I have a request for you. Click that subscribe button below and be my friend. I need you to be my friend on YouTube. All right, I'll be your friend. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.